was your name, by the way?
Larry?
Larry, I'm Gabe.
Pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yo.
Hey guys, welcome to Black Diesel Garage. And on this video here, this was our first time ever interviewing someone on their truck. The beginning, starting this channel, I wanted to interview people on their trucks, on old farm trucks and trucks a lot like this. We were at a car show in Arkansas and we ran into that truck, and it was really interesting, and it's a lot like how we're building my wife's 52 Ford. So wanted to talk to him. He said we could interview him, so wound up making a video, and this is our first actual video like that, and we didn't have any mics. So with all the noise of the car show and stuff, it was kind of hard to hear. Just the nature and everything would have been better with mics, but we weren't planning on doing that. So we didn't have mics and just weren't quite set up for it. And we wound up just getting to talking a lot. So there's probably a lot of pieces cut out of this that we're just talking that didn't involve the video itself. So you'll have that in there. It will be a little quiet. We'll try to put subtitles on them parts that are quiet. And then also some of it just within talking we didn't capture because we didn't want to keep pulling out our phones and recording all the time when he went later on when we were talking, when he got back on the subject of the truck. Just personally talking, not for the video. But something we didn't catch that we wish we could have caught. And I'm not going to be able to say it like he did just because, I don't know, can't quite remember. This is about 2 weeks later, maybe 3 weeks later now that I'm recording this. But he said one thing he loved about the truck was it brought joy to people, and a lot of people connected with it. Just being an old farm truck, there's a lot of people that had a grandpa or someone with an old farm truck that they were close to, enjoyed their company. And a truck like that, just a lot of people can relate through that. And he said the coolest thing to him was driving down the road, and when people would see it, they'd smile and wave and get all happy. And he said that he really just liked that his truck brought joy to people when you didn't know how their day was going. I mean, lots of different people going through different things, and just if you can make them smile, it's nice. And he said it just brought him a lot of joy. And now I butchered that up from how he said it. That's kind of what he said, and it sounded real true and just sounded like a poet when he said that. We didn't get that part on film. That's kind of like the kind of person he is. Basing off that, that's the kind of person he is. Real good old gentleman who just cares about everybody. He has a real cool truck. I'm glad he let us interview him, and I'm glad that this is our first video for an interview video. Just a cool truck and a cool guy to interview. So I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get to the video.
This old truck was originally made to come out of when I took it apart, I had it running. It had a dump bed with drain sides on it. And I loved the old truck, but it wouldn't run like 40 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So I started messing with it, trying to make it where I could drive it, and then this is the way it wound up.
Well, that's cool. Did you paint the cab like this, or was it
yeah,
already
that's
like
the
that
original.
when you got
That's
it?
the original color, close, and I went ahead and put all new door rubbers and new window channels, and I painted the steel back to close to the original color.
I guess one thing we were wondering, would this have had wing windows in
No.
it, or it never
This
had
particular, this is a 47 year model, and this series did not have vent windows.
Okay.
That's an early to mid 60s. It's a back in those days you had factory air. Very few cars, your Buicks, your Cadillacs, your Olds and stuff like that had factory air that was in the dash, but this was what they call dealer installed air.
Okay.
It's just a little under dash unit.
It's just that unit, and then it goes up under the hood to the compressor, right? That's all that's under the hood is just the compressor?
Yeah, and a condenser out in front of the rig.
Oh, okay. And what transmission do you have? The Dodge transmission?
Yeah, it's the early 5-speed, they'll get ragged 360. Everybody said they were junk, and you can't buy parts for them anymore. But this one's still running, and I'll run it till it gives up, and then I'll put an NV 4500 in it.
And would that be the one where the 5th gear sometimes has issues?
No,
or people weld on? That's the later one?
That's the NV 4500. These,
okay.
the Get Rag didn't have the 5th gear issues that the 4500 had, but they're just a little bit weaker transmission all around.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know, this one here shifts good. Don't give me any trouble, so I'm going to run it till it pukes.
And are those the original gauges
No,
on the dash? Or?
No, this was the radio delete cover. That's where the factory radio goes. The original gauges were mechanical and they were different, and I couldn't adapt the Cummins to the original gauge cluster, so I just cut a hole in that radio delete panel, put some aftermarket gauges for the oil pressure and the temperature.
Mm-hmm. But like the speedometer and stuff, is that functional? Or?
It would be, but the transmission, I hadn't got the speedometer worked out yet. The transmission was an electronic pickup originally for electronic speedometer, but it does have gears, and it was the electronic piece bolted screwed on the outside of the transmission. So I thought, well, I'll put a cable on it, and the cable worked. My factory cable fit on the transmission.
Really?
But when I started down the road, the speedometer worked in reverse, but it didn't work in forward. The gears cut backwards. So I had to get a reverse rotation adapter and put on there, and when I did, now when I'm doing 40, the speedometer registers 80. So I need a 50 to 1 gear
reduce it down
to get it right, and I just hadn't finished that part
yet. Well, that's cool. You're able to find something to make it work.
Yeah, it does work, but it don't work. It's not accurate. I've got it unhooked because I don't want to peg it. So, but I eventually wanted to hook my factory gauges up. I had to scoop this 6-cylinder Cummins was quite a bit longer than 6-cylinder. I had to scoop the engine back 5.5 inches.
Okay, I see your work on the firewall there. Yeah.
Box here, I had to build a cheap metal box there, and.
But the floor stayed the same. You didn't have to come up with the floor.
No, I had to change
floor.
That floor pan just a little bit, just there where the transmission goes.
A little kick up in there.
Yeah.
And I assume you built your radio box, right?
I didn't want to cut the dash to put that radio in there, so all this stuff is cardboard. It's factory and it's cheap. And the headliner was cardboard, so I just made me a box and cut that cardboard around it and put the radio up there, so it's out of the way, and it didn't destroy. I didn't want to take away from the original.
Well, I really like that.
This bed was the truck I bought. I bought it out of a salvage yard, the Dodge, 95 Dodge, and this is the bed that was on that chassis. It was a theft recovery. They'd stolen the diesel and the 5-speed transmission out of it, and they set the cab on fire. You can see.
Yeah.
Lights are melted. But anyway, it had a big old ugly Tommy lift tailgate that stuck straight up, and I had no intention of using this bed. And when I got the cab rolled off, I set this 47 cab up there, got it kind of positioned where the tires and the met the fenders and all, and I had it sitting like I wanted, and I walked around and looked at it, and when I walked behind it, that headache rack there looks like it was made for this truck. So I thought, I just cleaned it up and brushed some old black paint on it.
Yeah, the headache rack fits that just about perfect.
Yeah. So
what were you planning on for a bed then?
I was going to build my own bed. What I really wanted to do was get some 3/16 flat metal and break it. You know, the old half-ton pickups, they had like a 45-degree angle.
Yeah.
And weld a piece of pipe on it and make bed sides for like just a regular pickup bed. And then I was going to get the factory half-ton fenders and make it look like a dually, just a box here, and then put the fenders on the outside of it. It was what I wanted to do, but I got it running, started driving it, and I thought, well, that old bed's not too bad.
No, I really like the way it looks.
And it's functional. I haul stuff on it.
Is it a dump bed too?
No.
Oh, okay. I just saw that bracket and I thought it almost
No.
looked like it sat on there and comes
No, it
off.
does look like probably, but no, it's just a fixed bed. I've had lots of hot rods and street rods and muscle cars with billet chrome and shiny paint. And I got this old truck done and started driving it. And I told my wife, I said, you know, I said, of all the money I've spent on these old cars through the years, I said, this is the best money I've ever spent because I can drive it in any weather. I can drive it down any road, get it dirty, get it muddy. I can pull anything I want to pull. I can haul anything I want to haul. And you can't do that with a $50,000 hot rod. Street rod.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I just love it to death.
If you don't mind me asking, how much do you have in this by the time you got to this point?
Well, really, I ain't got all that much in it. I figured, I just bought junk, you know, and I think I gave, I think I paid $600 for that 95 Dodge out of salvage yard, but of course I had to go through the whole front end. Everything was burnt, all the rubber boots and bushings and ball joints. I had to put everything in it. And I don't know, the engine transmission, I don't know, I had maybe $750 in them. And I don't know, probably just like it sets, I might have 5,000 in it maybe.
That's not bad at all.
But I wouldn't trade it for a brand new one. And I've been offered stupid money for this thing.
Oh,
I'm
really?
sure.
Yeah,
What's the-
25,000 is about the best that I've been offered so far. But you know, I tell everybody
You
it
can't
ain't for
replace
sale.
it for that.
No, I said it ain't for sale. I've got a little old Blue Heeler Cross Jeep, and she's my buddy, and I fixed that place there where that T-shirt
Oh,
is.
okay. She rides right in the middle
Her
there.
ride, Yeah.
That's what we have. We have a little blue healer.
Boy, she is a dandy. And they're both air ride. They got a little switch here. It goes down. But anyway, the little compressor comes on. Brrr.
And then the visor, did that come on the truck or did you add that?
No, I added that, and it's an original visor for this style truck, and I found it up here on the mountain. Right over in there.
Just laying in the...
No, there was an old man and an old woman come up here. They pulled a 16-foot trailer, and I was sitting talking, and the old woman got out and got in the back of the truck, and the first thing she picked up sideways was that visor, and I'd been looking for one, and I said, I got to go. Boy, and I took off hot-footed over there, and she'd handed it to the old man. I said, what do you got to have for that visor? He said, it won't be cheap. I said, well, I don't figure it is. But I said, what's it going to take? He said, $75.
Not cheap.
Yep.
Man.
It fit this old truck. Looks like it came on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then did you do the cab lights? or-
Yeah, it didn't have cab lights, and I had a friend that had I think it was a 62 GMC two-ton truck, and it had 6 of those lights up there. And he said I could have them if I wanted them, and I salvaged 3 of them, and put 3 up there, spread them out.
And those are Dodge rims, right, for the truck?
Yeah, 17.
And then what about the hubcap? How did that work? Did it...
Well, those are aftermarket. They're cheap. You can buy these cheap. They're plastic
Okay.
for the Dodge. You can get the smooth ones, or you can get the ones with goat heads on them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got the smooth ones, and my daughter's got one of those graphic machines on her computer.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, could you make me some plastic decals for these hubcaps? She said, yeah, just show me what you want. Down and drew it, and she printed it out. And boy, she nailed that font. It looked just
Yeah.
Yeah, she
I
did.
actually was thinking they were old aluminum
No,
hubcaps that
no,
you got to
those
fit
are-
on there.
Those are plastic, cheap reproductions. And I just had her make that decal.
Well, that's slick.
Found those trim rings on the interweb too. They're stainless steel narrow trim rings, which that's what they did back in the old days.
Mhm.
A trim ring and a chrome hubcap.
Yeah, I thought they looked like the Dodge wheels, but then I was like, well, they got all the stuff on them like it would have.
And this front end is the straight axle version, and it was a little bit too wide, and those are CJ5 Jeep wheel.
She has a CJ7, and I thought they looked like them
Yeah,
on the
it's
CJ7.
the rear wheel wells go around, and it's for the rear of what that is. And it worked. So it's slung mud.
And then your marker lights, do they work? Or?
Yeah, these, those hand signals, those were on the truck. See, I've got the cab light.
Oh, yeah. It looks like you might have had a bulb go out on one of these.
Yeah, the park light don't work.
Before you pop the hood, if you don't mind, we noticed this.
Yeah. See, this originally had a stand-up radiator. It's a horizontal, water coming in the top, down the bottom. And the cross-flow radiators cool better. Well, the radiator came out of a 92 Dodge. And I wanted to use that cross-flow radiator because I thought it would probably cool better. So naturally I had the hood off, and I was thinking, boy, if I can get that radiator in between these fenders, I got it made. So, boy, I got the radiator in there and everything hooked up. I was proud. I got the intercooler. It's turboed and intercooler. Got the intercooler and the air conditioning condenser all
behind there, and you can't.
So I thought, boy, I got her made now. So I fired it up and drove it around the yard, and I thought, well, shoot, I'm ready to put the hood on it. I bolted the hood on it and went to close it. Well, that hood has got this little dip here, so I had to clearance that hood for this radiator.
I like how you left it into like little scoop looking kind of.
I had some 3-inch exhaust pipe tubing. After I cut this out, I thought, boy, that looks stupid. So I had some 3-inch exhaust pipe tubing, and I just cut it and grafted it on there.
It doesn't stick out much past here, but you really can't tell unless you sit there and look at it. It just looks like a neat little add-on.
Just something I had to do.
And then, does your horn, is it hooked up? Or?
Yeah, that's the original. This truck was originally a 6-bolt. It actually, the old original 6-cylinder, the intake manifold run down the side here, and that horn mounted on the intake manifold.
Okay.
And I made me a bracket.
And the brake booster, is that from the Dodge?
That comes from a 92 Dodge. And the clutch master cylinder, it's got a hydraulic clutch. That comes from the 92 Dodge. But yeah, you can see I had to scoop that engine back. Made me a sheet metal box.
Yeah, I like that. That looks nice. I didn't know till you said it, but the cross flow ones do a little better.
They claim they cool better for whatever reason. I didn't know the purpose, but it's something to do with the
heat transfer.
Yeah, it keeps it in there longer, I think, and the heat transfers better if it's sideways as opposed to vertical.
And you said VE pump on this truck, right?
Yeah, it's the little round. It's just like on a tractor or something. There's a small pump. Now the P pump on the 2nd gen Cummins was long, and all your plungers were up on top. Had 6 plungers.
And did you personally want the VE pump?
No, that's just what I had. The 1st gen Cummins, that's all they had was the VE pump. And I've advanced the timing a little on this one. Played with it some. I hate to mess with it too much because the darn thing gets 25 miles a gallon. So,
when are you ever going to have a big, looks like a 1.5 ton truck almost or something that gets that good of fuel economy?
That you can afford to drive.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work. I've had this truck together and apart on this chassis probably, I don't know, I've had the cab on and off a jillion times just trying to get everything.
You've had of like 5 or 6 variations of something.
Yeah.
Until you got to here.
Yeah. It just necessity. It was within a 1/2 inch any way you looked at it. Every time I turned around, it was, boy, this is going to be close. I've got maybe a 1/2 inch to work with, or I can take a 1/2 inch out, and that's all I can get. And it was, within a 1/2 inch everywhere I turned of it just not being possible, not feasible. But I kept messing with it, finally got it.
Looking how close you have all your cuts and how clean it looks, you can tell you pulled it apart and put it back together and made it was perfect.
Yeah, this here is the intercooler tube. It goes down through here, and I just cut holes and then split some gas line wrapped around it to get all that intercooler stuff hooked up.
To get this cab on here with your front bumper and everything,
Yeah,
I mean, it looks just right. Was there?
No, I had to make everything from here out. I had to make to get
Well, you made
bumper.
it fit just right.
Yeah, to get that bumper and this little splash apron thing to fit right, I had to make all that. I wrapped the block heater cord around that license plate.
Like you're gonna need a block heater.
I used it before. That block heater's nice. The shed I park it under's got a 110 receptacle there close, and for the winter time you plug this thing up, you get in it and turn that heater on, it's already ready to go.
Yeah.
And it's so much easier to start.
I've had a lot of the 7.3s, and those things don't like to start if it's below 60 degrees, seems like. But I have noticed in winter how nice it is if you already have your coolant warm or your oil or whatever. But I noticed, at least the B's I've been around, it seems those always start good.
They don't, they don't need much help.
Seems they always just fire right up.
But I did go ahead and I hooked the preheaters up. I've got a push button in there that I can go ahead and preheat it when it's cold. After I got it put together, everybody said, "What color are you gonna paint it?" I said, "I ain't." I said, "This is it."
I like it. I have a 1970 Ford, and I've swapped the chassis, and I haven't put a drivetrain in because I want to wait till I have everything and do it all at once. But it's got the old paint on it, and I want to leave it the old paint. I like them when they're in the old paint.
It's just so much character.
The
Now,
paint, yeah.
I did have to, this grill, somebody hair lift this grill. I think it's this bar here was bent pretty bad. And I took another grill apart, and of course this piece that I put in there I think it was red, I don't know. But anyhow, I put it in there and I just put shot primer on it, and I had some, this is that old military desert sand colored paint. I shot it on there and then took some wet sandpaper and sanded through the primer to kind of make it.
Well, it comes pretty close to the cab.
Yeah,
Like,
it's different.
that's one thing I was actually going to ask you about, because I thought it kind of looked like that had been repainted.
Yeah.
But also it's close enough. I wasn't sure whether it had or
You
not.
can see this color here. This had been, apparently this had been replaced on the old truck because it's blue. And everything on this is original paint. It's black primer with gray primer and then this tan paint. So this is original here. But this having the blue on it tells me this has been bent and replaced. But this tan color, you know, it's close to that.
And it was, what, most likely replaced and then painted tan to match the whole truck?
Yeah. That's what I think. But I don't know. I like the rust and the patina.
Oh yeah, I like it.
You don't have to worry about scratching it.
You don't have to worry about washing it.
No. And the grandkids, you know, they can just climb all over it and they ain't gonna hurt it. And
I definitely would if you weren't ready for it. That.
Well, they don't warn you.
looks better with the hood down.
It's an awesome looking truck. And then, were the mirrors on it when you got it, or did you do your mirrors?
These are the mirrors that were on it when I got it. And I changed the heads because the glass broke. Guys, last name Harms, and one was Fitzgerald, and I guess they were partners. When I got this truck, it came out of Missouri, and I got the original title with the truck and the death certificate from Mr. Fitzgerald. His name was on the title.
So it was a one-owner truck from new before you got it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I just left that stuff on
It's
Well,
part
that's
of the truck.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the words on there rather than there being nothing. And that's kind of like mine. Mine has Galena down the side of it because it was a fire truck for Galena, Kansas.
Yeah.
So,
I'd leave it.
yeah.
That's part of the story. One of the things I did to create more room in this truck, steering wheel was way up here. It was just in your face. And when I paired the steering column up with the Dodge steering gearbox, I shortened that shaft and scooted it towards the windshield. And boy, it gives you the illusion of just way more room, because these old cabs are small. I'm sure your Ford, the cab seems small when you get in it.
It seems tiny.
And then, did you have to change the pitch much on your steering wheel, or that's the same pitch? Because I think her pitch was way off on the Ford compared to the newer Ford.
I didn't change anything on it as far as the pitch. It just slid it down closer to the dash. Get in there and sit down. You're pretty long-legged. You'll see what I'm talking about since I moved that steering wheel.
Wow.
It don't feel near as small.
I've driven a lot of dump trucks, semis, and stuff where it seems like it has less room than this, and the cab's actually bigger.
Yeah.
So that does, wow.
It makes a lot of difference.
That's crazy.
And it had an old knob on this steering wheel when I got it. Been on there for years, and I put it back on there.
Well, that's awesome.
Anybody want to try?
If you don't mind.
No.
You don't mind.
That's awesome.
It's just a cool little truck.
Yeah, for sure. No, no, not in that aspect. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. And if you'd like to see more videos done in this style, if you comment and let us know that, we will try to reach out to more people and talk to more people that we see and try to get them to show us their vehicle for the channel if you guys are interested in seeing more videos like that. So thank you, and once again, all the support is appreciated. All the like, subscribing, commenting, we greatly appreciate that. It helps boost the channel, so thank you guys very much, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.